Here, the Minshan Mountains wildlife exists in a breathtaking realm, suspended entirely between myth and stark reality. The Minshan Mountains of Sichuan, China, exist as a breathtaking realm, suspended entirely between myth and stark reality. Here, the jagged, towering Alpine peaks pierce the heavens, forever draped in a thick, perpetual, and mystical mountain fog, as the late, misty autumn finally surrenders to the inevitable, crushing grip of winter. A profound and heavy silence settles over the deep emerald evergreens. A single, delicate snowflake, perfectly symmetrical in its icy architecture, drifts down from the high canopy and melts slowly upon a broad, deep green bamboo leaf. The temperature in these shadowed ancient valleys is dropping rapidly, signaling the quiet arrival of the first heavy snow of the season. This environment is not a chaotic, bloody battlefield of desperate predators and panicked prey. Instead, it is a quiet, enduring kingdom of immense patience, where survival is an exquisite art form, sculpted over millions of years of evolution. Hidden within this freezing, moss-draped, and vertical maze are 50 of the most specialized, bizarre, and beautiful survivors on planet Earth. At the absolute base of the mountains, where the creeping mist lies thickest and the air bites the lungs, the rhythm of life slows down to a near deliberate halt. This is the undisputed domain of the ultimate bamboo forager, the Giant Panda. Counting down as number 50 on our epic journey, this iconic creature moves with a deliberate, unhurried, and peaceful grace through the dense, unforgiving understory. Evolution has gifted the panda with a remarkable, highly specialized biological marvel, a unique pseudo-thumb. This enlarged, modified wrist bone functions exactly like a human thumb, allowing the massive bear to firmly and elegantly grip the freezing, ice-slicked bamboo stalks with astonishing dexterity. Every sharp snap and crunch of the bamboo stalk echoes crisply through the quiet, snow-muffled forest, a solitary, comforting sound in the overwhelming, almost eerie stillness. The giant panda does not fight the bitter, dropping cold. Its incredibly dense, oily, and thick fur naturally repels the melting snow, creating a perfect, impenetrable thermal barrier against the elements. Deeper in the shifting shadows, carefully navigating the treacherous, frost-covered ravines, we discover species number 49, the incredibly elusive Tufted Deer. At first, fleeting glance through the fog, this small creature appears to have stepped directly out of a dark, gothic fairy tale. Protruding sharply from the corners of its mouth are long, distinct vampire-like fangs. However, these formidable and terrifying canine teeth are absolutely not the weapons of a vicious, predatory killer. In this peaceful but harshly unforgiving environment, the fangs serve as vital, specialized tools for scraping and foraging for roots beneath the rapidly thickening blanket of snow. They are also used for settling rare, non-lethal disputes over territory, allowing the males to posture without resorting to fatal violence. The tufted deer steps delicately, its specialized hooves making barely a whisper against the frozen, unforgiving earth. It is perfectly adapted to vanish instantly into the dense emerald bamboo at the absolute slightest hint of an approaching threat. As we move further along the freezing, mist-covered mountain streams, the atmosphere grows even more ethereal, and strangely suspended in time. Beneath the slow, icy currents lies species number 48, the magnificent and ancient Chinese giant salamander. This prehistoric, massive amphibian is a true master of quiet endurance, a creature that practically possesses the ability to pause time itself. As the surrounding water temperature plummets toward the freezing point, the giant salamander slows its entire metabolism to an absolute bare minimum. It enters a profound state of suspended animation, requiring almost no oxygen and absolutely no food. It does not need to fiercely hunt or frantically flee from the cold. It simply waits in the dark, its mottled skin blending flawlessly with the mossy river cobbles, a living, breathing fossil enduring the brutal winter chill, just exactly as its ancestors did millions of years ago. Surrounding the banks of these freezing streams, hiding beneath the decaying logs and rocks, are species 47 down to 36. This is a hidden, microscopic world of rare, endemic frogs, uniquely adapted beetles, and highly specialized alpine insects. They cannot migrate over the jagged peaks, nor do they possess the ability to build warm, insulated nests. Instead, they rely on a miraculous, complex biological process of producing natural antifreeze proteins within their own blood. This incredible adaptation allows their tiny bodies to freeze almost completely solid under the thick, moss-draped roots of the towering evergreens without suffering any cellular damage. They enter a deep brumation, their tiny heartbeats slowing to a mere fraction of a pulse per minute, effectively becoming one with the frozen earth. In the deep Minshan valleys, the illusion of an empty, lifeless forest is merely nature's brilliant, unseen strategy for ultimate preservation. The gentle, completely silent, and continuous snowfall now begins to heavily cover the forest floor, masking the deep footprints of the giant panda and the delicate tracks of the tufted deer. The mountain mist thickens, wrapping the massive, ancient trunks of the trees in a veil of absolute, blinding white. Here, at the bottom of the jagged mountain, the internal biological clocks of these unique animals have prepared them perfectly for the harsh, unforgiving months ahead. They have gathered their necessary resources, slowed their breathing, and peacefully embraced the freezing fog. But as we look upward, peering through the falling snow toward the vertical slopes and the freezing wind-battered canopy, the challenges of winter multiply exponentially. The incredible survivors of the mid-elevations cannot simply hide under the snow and wait for spring. They must actively navigate a vertical, icy labyrinth where every single step and every calculated leap requires extraordinary physical balance and truly unique evolutionary traits. The snow is falling much harder now, bridging the immense gap between the quiet valleys and the jagged, storm-swept peaks far above. The ancient moss-draped forest stands completely silent, watching patiently as the resilient residents of the Mid-Canopy prepare to face the incoming, relentless winter storm. As we ascend further up the treacherous, winding slopes, leaving the dark valleys below, the environment undergoes a dramatic and beautiful transformation. The gentle, poetic snowfall of the lower elevations now becomes a steady, thick curtain of pure white, contrasting sharply against the deep, ancient emerald of the towering evergreens. The profound silence of the Minshan forest deepens, broken only by the heavy, rhythmic thud of snow slipping from the overburdened, moss-draped branches above. This mid-elevation realm, a vertical world suspended between the valley floor and the jagged alpine peaks, belongs to species number 35 down to 16. These are the true masters of insulation and vertical navigation, creatures uniquely sculpted by evolution to thrive in a freezing, suspended labyrinth. High in the frosted canopy, a sudden flash of vibrant, fiery gold pierces the thick, mystical fog. It is a troop of golden snub-nosed monkeys, arguably the most visually striking and biologically fascinating primates in this snowy kingdom. Their long, luxurious golden fur stands out like a beacon against the monochrome landscape, designed specifically to trap microscopic layers of warm air close to their skin. But their most bizarre and brilliant evolutionary marvel is found right on their pale blue-tinted faces. Unlike most primates, they possess a distinctly flat, seemingly missing nose, lacking a protruding nasal bridge entirely. This peculiar, almost alien feature is a highly specialized adaptation to prevent severe frostbite in the freezing, biting Alpine wind. The temperature drops further, the air itself becoming thin, brittle, and sharp as crushed glass. For the golden snub-nosed monkeys, the approaching night brings a dangerous, life-threatening chill that can easily drop far below zero. To combat this, the troop gathers tightly in the upper canopy, forming a dense, living sphere of golden fur. The young and vulnerable are pushed carefully to the very center of this protective huddle, insulated by the massive, thick coats of the older males and females. It is a beautiful, silent testament to the power of community in the face of an unforgiving, freezing wilderness. Not far away, nestled deeply within the crotch of an ancient gnarled tree, we find another master of thermal regulation. The red panda, a solitary and impossibly beautiful creature, moves with a slow, deliberate grace as the temperature continues to plummet. It carefully wipes a delicate melting snowflake from its white-masked face using a thickly furred, padded paw. Then, it curls its flexible body into a tight, compact ball, bringing its most valuable survival tool into action. Its thick, bushy, ringed tail acts as a literal built-in thermal blanket, wrapping completely around its freezing face and delicate nose to seal in the warmth of its own breath. Its rhythmic, slow breathing creates tiny, momentary clouds of steam that instantly vanish into the thick mountain fog. Its metabolism has naturally slowed, a subtle physiological shift that allows it to survive on the meager, low-calorie diet of bamboo leaves and frozen lichen. Watching the red panda sleep peacefully as the heavy snow slowly buries the forest is a moment of pure, undisturbed tranquility. Yet, survival in this vertical world is not solely about staying warm. It is also about finding elusive sustenance in a landscape that is quickly becoming entirely locked in ice. Down on the forest floor, weaving expertly through the frozen, dense bamboo stalks, are the brilliantly colored blood pheasants and Temminck's tragopans. These bizarre, ground-dwelling birds seem entirely out of place in a winter storm, their crimson, blue, and orange plumage glowing fiercely against the pure white snow. They do not possess the ability to fly long distances to escape the changing season. Instead, they rely on an astonishingly precise, inherited spatial memory to navigate the complex, shifting maze of the bamboo understory. They remember the exact locations of seeds, dormant insects, and unfrozen water sources hidden deep beneath the fresh snow, scraping delicately at the frozen earth with specialized hardened claws. Meanwhile, high above their heads, the thick mist parts for just a fleeting second, revealing the astonishing agility of the Tibetan macaque. These robust, heavy-set monkeys traverse the slippery, icy rock faces with complete, unshakable confidence. Their rough, calloused hands gripping the freezing stone where a human would easily perish. Suddenly, a silent shadow detaches itself from the trunk of a massive, towering evergreen. It is the Chinese giant flying squirrel, engaging in a peaceful, breathtaking display of vertical navigation. With no predators chasing it, it simply leaps into the freezing void to find a warmer, more sheltered roost for the night. It spreads its limbs wide, stretching the furry, specialized membranes that connect its wrists to its ankles. It glides beautifully and silently through the falling snow, a spectral phantom weaving effortlessly between the massive, dark trunks of the ancient forest. Its landing is a masterpiece of evolutionary engineering, its specialized padded claws gripping the icy bark with silent, absolute precision. It immediately vanishes into a hollowed-out cavity within the ancient wood, wrapping its gliding membranes around its body to trap the heat. The forest is alive with these quiet, invisible victories of survival, happening entirely out of sight beneath the heavy, continuous snowfall. Every single species in this mid-elevation zone has developed a unique, specialized strategy to endure the bitter cold. They do not waste precious, irreplaceable energy on unnecessary conflicts or violent, noisy struggles. Instead, they conserve, they adapt, and they quietly endure, allowing the heavy winter snow to transform their forest into a peaceful, sleeping kingdom. But as our journey continues upward, moving past the tree line and into the thin, freezing air of the highest alpine zones, the gentle snowfall begins to violently change its nature. We are about to enter the domain of the extremophiles, species 15 down to number 1. Here, the ancient moss-draped evergreens give way to jagged, towering spears of naked rock and unforgiving endless fields of glacial ice. The profound silence of the forest is slowly replaced by the low, threatening howl of the incoming alpine wind. The ultimate test of biological evolution is rapidly approaching as the first gentle snow of winter transforms into a blinding, deadly snow squall. At an altitude of over 4,000 meters, the Minshan Mountains reveal their most brutal and awe-inspiring face. Here, the ancient moss-draped evergreens give way to jagged, towering spears of naked rock and unforgiving, endless fields of glacial ice. The profound, heavy silence of the lower forest is suddenly and violently shattered by the low, threatening howl of the incoming alpine wind. The gentle, poetic snowfall transforms instantly into a blinding, deadly snow squall, creating the ultimate unforgiving test of biological evolution. This is the exclusive, high-altitude domain of the extremophiles, species number 15, down to our highly anticipated number 1. Hidden perfectly against the frost-covered, jagged scree slopes is one of the most magnificent, elusive predators of the high altitudes, the Pallas's cat. With its characteristically flat, wide face and low-set ears, it peers intently through the howling mist, its glowing pale yellow eyes, tracking the invisible microscopic movements beneath the snow. It possesses the absolute longest and most densely packed fur of any feline on Earth. A vital, extraordinary evolutionary marvel that allows it to lie completely motionless on the freezing rock for hours on end. It does not need to outrun the freezing wind or seek deep shelter. It simply becomes a seamless, living part of the stone itself. Suddenly, the blinding white squall parts for a mere fraction of a second, revealing a breathtaking, heart-stopping spectacle of alpine agility on a sheer, vertical cliff edge. A magnificent ghost-like snow leopard, the undisputed phantom of these towering mountains, is locked in a high-speed, incredibly tense chase with a highly adapted blue sheep. The powerful leopard navigates the treacherous, ice-slicked precipice with impossible liquid grace, using its massive, incredibly long tail as a perfect dynamic counterbalance against the sheer drop. But the blue sheep is equally, if not more, brilliantly adapted to this terrifying vertical world. The sheep possesses highly specialized, incredible hooves with a hard, sharp outer rim and a soft, spongy, rubbery core that grips the sheer, slippery ice exactly like a professional climbing shoe. With a final, desperate, and calculated leap across a seemingly bottomless chasm, the blue sheep vanishes into the thick, swirling fog, escaping the predator completely unharmed. The snow leopard slides to a graceful, controlled halt on the jagged, narrow ledge, accepting the loss with absolute, undisturbed calm. It does not waste precious, irreplaceable energy in frustrated anger. It merely turns slowly and blends instantly back into the gray, swirling mist, a true ghost returning to the deep shadows. High above this silent, breathtaking pursuit, soaring powerfully through the chaotic, freezing turbulence of the blinding snow squall, is the magnificent golden eagle. With its massive, dark wingspan catching the violent, unpredictable updrafts, it surveys the frozen, sprawling kingdom below, acting as a silent, majestic guardian of the Alpine peaks. But as the temperature rapidly drops to its absolute, punishing lowest point, the true climax of endurance belongs to the undisputed heavyweights of the Minshan winter, the mighty Golden Takin, taking our #1 spot. A massive, ancient herd of these giant, bizarre goat antelopes is caught entirely exposed on an open, brutally wind-blasted ridge. They are a spectacular, fascinating biological anomaly, looking exactly like a mythical hybrid of a heavy bear, a stout cow, and an agile mountain goat, covered entirely in thick, shaggy golden yellow fleece. As the blizzard violently batters their massive muscular bodies, their most incredible, hidden evolutionary adaptation is put to the ultimate life or death test. The Takin possess enormous, highly specialized, barrel-shaped nasal cavities, hidden deeply within their uniquely curved, prominent snouts. These giant, complex nasal passages act as powerful natural internal heaters, rapidly warming the freezing, deadly alpine air before it can ever reach their delicate, vulnerable lungs. Instead of panicking and scattering blindly in the blinding storm, the massive, heavily armored adults move together with a deliberate, ancient, and deeply ingrained wisdom. They form a tight, impenetrable, and fiercely protective wall of golden fur and dense muscle, putting their massive bodies directly on the line to physically break the howling, punishing wind. They carefully and gently tuck the vulnerable, shivering young deep into the absolute center of this living, breathing fortress, sharing their collective body heat in a beautiful, moving display of communal endurance. For grueling hours, the vicious storm rages, trying desperately to break the enduring spirit of the mountain, but the Takin stand completely unyielding, rooted to the frozen, unforgiving earth, like monumental living statues. Finally, as the late, freezing afternoon approaches, the howling, violent wind begins to slowly die down, and the blinding snow gradually tapers off into a gentle, sparkling drift. The thick, mystical mountain fog suddenly clears just as the golden sun begins to set over the distant, jagged horizon. A breathtaking, brilliant golden rim light is cast perfectly over the jagged, snow-buried peaks of Sichuan, illuminating a quiet world that has been beautifully and violently transformed by the ice. From the deep, emerald bamboo valleys where the giant panda rests peacefully, up to the frozen windswept ridges where the Golden Takin stand guard. All 50 incredible species have successfully settled into the freezing night. At first superficial glance, this extreme, frozen, and silent landscape may appear entirely empty and utterly devoid of life and warmth. But beneath the heavy snow, inside the hollowed ancient trees, and upon the sheer icy cliffs, an incredibly complex, resilient, and enduring web of life quietly survives. Survival in the majestic Minshan Mountains is rarely about the loudest roar, the sharpest teeth, or the bloodiest battles. It is ultimately about the quietest endurance, the truly bizarre miracles of deep evolution, and the unyielding, beautifully patient spirit of nature. Thank you for joining us on this incredible, chilling journey to the mystical roof of the world. If you were captivated by the quiet resilience and the hidden secrets of these 50 evolutionary marvels, please subscribe and leave a comment below. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden wonders of the last wild.